All right. Amy, are you still there?
I'm here, but it looks like my video is frozen very awkwardly.
That's that's what I thought might be happening. For those of you tuning in live, we have an awkward shot of awkward shot of Amy to kick off the custom live streaming. Welcome to the Redwood GS live stream. I'm about to be joined by my co-host Amy Dutton, who is a part
It's
of
not letting
the
me share my
core team
video.
initiative. You can't do your video?
No,
Oh,
it
well, that
said
might
I
be.
am not a host. These are
Yeah,
always
let's
fun.
let's bring Amy back. Um, Try it again. Hey, Amy, you're important to this whole thing, I think.
Oh
Can you
man.
do your video now?
It's wow.
I
Zoom
think you
is
can start it.
fantastic. There you go. The Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, start my video. Zoom. What are you doing to me?
It
It's
says all
not.
systems are go.
Mm. Well, if you can banter, I'll leave
I
and
mean,
then jump back.
this is my banter. Um, you keep you keep working on that. Come back. All right, we're gonna have Amy join us in a second. Welcome to the Redwood JS public meetup, also known as our town hall, and welcome to 2024. I think in January it officially ends when you can say Happy New Year to people. So I won't say that, but we haven't seen hung out with the community since 2023. We are excited because today we get to show you the plan and the roadmap for things we've been talking about for almost a year now, which is what we're calling Redwood Bighorn, but you might know it as what is Redwood going to do with React Server components? And the answer is a whole lot, and we think you're going to be really excited about it. I think I have Amy back now, but I'm not sure if Amy can join. Amy should be able to join. We have a roadmap. We have work in progress. We have a plan. And today, can you hear the drum roll? Is when we're going to show you all that stuff about what's coming up next and where we're headed. So really excited about that. Thank you for joining us. Okay, the way this meeting breaks out is kind of two parts to it. Part one is lots of presentations. And if you are watching live, please join us by chat. We'll be watching the YouTube live stream as well. So we'll try to respond to questions there, get those to the presenters. And then if we have some time, we're going to go a little bit longer. Typically it's 30 minutes to 30 minutes. We'll stop the live stream and go to some breakout rooms just to have some discussion with the core team, the presenters, and the community. So stick around for that if you would like. That's how we live stream once we get up and running on the live stream. Amy, you seem to be videoed now. You can't? Oh, come on. uh,
There we go.
uh,
It's a pretty
we're
face.
amazing. We're amazing, you and me.
A good
Um,
a good team.
Amy, now that you have permission to join this meeting, why don't
Perfect.
you take it from here?
Yeah, so I'm so excited to finally share a lot of the things that we've been planning behind the scenes and to make that public and available to everybody. So the first thing that we'll do is I'm going to invite Tom to join us. So we have revisited our README. And one of the things that's I think pretty great about Redwood is that we really appreciate README driven development. And so using that as a way to guide user experience, developer experience, and just overall the vision for what we do.
All right,
Can
I'm done
Tom
finding Tom
add some help?
here we are. Oh, look, he did it. We did. I'm going to
Heyo.
disappear. I'll be the man behind the curtain for the rest of the meeting. Tom,
All
good to see
right.
you. Over to you.
Hey, how's it going? All right, new README. Well, yeah, a new development epoch, Bighorn of Redwood means a new README because sort of the way that we conceive of Redwood has changed a little bit. You know, we started a bunch of years ago really talking about making a serverless framework. For me, it was about like making something that could where you could build a full stack application, deploy to things like Netlify on a serverless architecture. Now, as we've gone along and we've built Redwood, we've realized that some of our assumptions from the early days and some of my predictions from the early days didn't really hold, especially those around the capabilities of Lambda and how it would evolve over time. And so we've adapted to those failures of prediction, shall we say. And we've really been searching for a framework that can help you get things done faster, help you build your startup, and help you go from nothing to something. And I think Bighorn represents a further exploration of exactly that. We want to make Redwood easier to use for more people so that they can start earlier in their path experimentally. Things like, what would you use for a prototype? What would you use at a hackathon? We want the answer to that to be Redwood so that more people start with Redwood because it's simple and easy to get started with, so that they continue with Redwood as they continue building larger and larger things. So at the same time, we want to bring along the existing community by making sure that Redwood stays compatible and gives you an upgrade path to all of the new React Server component-based things that we're doing, but bring along an entirely new audience of folks that maybe right now are using Next or Remix, or they're rolling their own or whatever they're doing, but they're thinking they want to do something with a database, and Redwood is going to be the best solution for that, for anyone, for people like people just in high school, people starting their company, like all the way from the top to the bottom. And so the README is going to change a little bit in how we position Redwood and what we talk about as being important. So I have started a new version of that. It will evolve over time, but I think for now, I will probably just read you the README. So here we go. All right. Redwood is a framework for quickly creating React-based web applications that provide an amazing end user experience. Our goal is to be simple and approachable enough for use in prototypes and hackathons, but performant and comprehensive enough to evolve into your next startup. We accomplish this in two primary ways. One, Redwood is opinionated and full stack. We've chosen the best technologies in the JavaScript, TypeScript ecosystem and beautifully integrated them into a cohesive framework that lets you get things done instead of endlessly evaluating technology options. You can get started using Redwood without a backend, but the framework really shines when you're building a data-driven application. Our transparent data fetching and optional GraphQL API make building and growing your application easier than you can imagine. And number two, creating the best, most responsive user interfaces requires reasoning about whether code should execute on the server or the client. Redwood makes it easy to choose the best execution context for your code by leveraging the power of React Server components. But we don't stop there. Redwood's declarative data fetching and simple form submission features are built on top of React Server components plus server actions and simplify common use cases so you can focus on your user's experience. The entire framework is built with TypeScript, so you get type safety from the router to the database and everywhere in between. If you'd rather build your app with JavaScript, you can do that too, and still enjoy great code completion features in your favorite editor. So this will be the top part of the README or something similar to it. And you'll notice that I don't talk at all about serverless because Redwood is becoming more of a server full framework. We hope that it will, or at least most of its features will continue to work on serverless. But right now, we need the framework to be performant. We need it to be high performance in most scenarios, something that we're having a hard time achieving with serverless for this specific type of a thing. So we'll still have a bunch of deploy providers, but we want to make that as easy as possible as well, right? So your deployment will remain super simple across a variety of providers, and our work on Docker is going to make Docker support will make that hopefully really simple. So I hope this gives you a bit of a taste of where we're going with Redwood and how we're thinking about it and positioning it. But to me, one of the big things for Bighorn is opening the top of the funnel so that Redwood becomes more appealing to more people out the gate so that we can continue growing the community and bringing this technology and everything that we offer with the Redwood community and how we manage the upgrade path and just making your full stack web application development cycle as easy as possible for more people by reducing the complexity overall of using Redwood. And we're using React Server components to make that possible. And some of the work that we'll be doing with cells, for instance, client and server side, are going to take those concepts of React Server components and build sort of lightweight abstractions on top of them to make your life even easier. Same we'll do with forms, with all kinds of things. And we're driving a lot of that through development of the new tutorial. So we'll have a brand new tutorial for Bighorn, and we're going to have some really cool features that are going to make your life super, super easy. I'm super excited about it. That's all.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
You bet.
So another thing that we're super excited about with the Bighorn release is we are going to have a new Bighorn website, and this will feature all of the things that we are working on. So I'm going to share. Oh, David, I need you to let me share my screen. Oh, goodness. So I'll share the website. This will go live, so it's ready to go, but we'll transfer the domain over after the town hall meeting, and you can check out the roadmap on the things that we've been doing. So perfect. Got it. So here's the new website. We have a bighorn in front of a bunch of redwoods, and you'll be able to follow along with what we're doing with React Server features and components. As you kind of scroll on down, we've highlighted some of the features that we are super excited about with Bighorn, the things that Tom just talked about within the README, and some of the things that we're doing to really improve the developer experience. And this is really exciting as well. We have a roadmap that outlines all the different pieces and parts that we're actively working on and where we are in the process so that you can follow along. Then we also have a blog. So this is the one thing that we have not had on the site yet. So the first post is available, and this is a post that Tom wrote about the README and the things that we're working on. Then we also have upcoming events. So if there's ever any question about what is happening with Redwood and some of the events that you can come to and participate, like this town hall, we have a feed of that here on the website. You can also RSVP, and some of you are probably already using Luma, but what this will do is it will put it on your calendar and send you reminders, which is pretty great. Scroll back down. The other thing that we have is a fortnightly newsletter. So this is probably the best place to stay updated with the things that we're doing with release updates, with Bighorn updates. So once this is live, go ahead and stick your email address. If you're already receiving the Redwood newsletter, then there's nothing else that you need to do. We already have your email and happy to send that out. But I did want to take a moment and get a little bit more technical. So even though we're excited about the website and the things that we're doing, I also wanted to show off some of the features. So one of the things that we're doing is we are using headless hash node. And this is something that they have just released. So we're using hash node almost like a CMS. And then we're consuming all of that content on our side. What's interesting about headless hash node is they are providing a GraphQL API that's available that we're able to consume. And this makes it really easy for us because, hey, right now we love GraphQL. So I was going to show a little bit of how this works. So here in the back end, we've set up a regular Redwood blog, and we have Tom's post published from here. And then Hashnode has a API playground where you can play around with the different pieces that it offers. So you can query using the information that they have. This is actually querying. Let's change this to redwoodjs.com. So you can query the Redwood blog. And then here, this is our GraphQL playground that's running on Redwood. So I can show off some of the code for getting this to work. So if you come into actually, let me duplicate this because I want to save this bookmark. If you come into the API directory and under source, we have GraphQL, and big shout out to DT for helping get all this up and running. But there's a hashnode.sdl.ts file. And here we have the types that Hashnode is giving us. We've created a shape of data so that we know what to expect. And because Redwood will also generate types, this makes it really easy on the front end to consume all of these pieces. So once we've established the GraphQL SDL file, then under the services directory, you'll also notice that there's a hashnode.ts file. And here is where we set up the resolvers for those queries. So here I'm grabbing all the recent posts, and this looks very similar to the Hashnode API playground, the query that they provide. And then you can see we're trying this. And what's interesting is we're importing requests from the GraphQL request package. And then we're able to go to Hashnode directly, since this is all happening on the API side. And then we're able to return that information to the front end. There's a similar call here for the post response. So we're grabbing the post specifically based on the slug. So for an individual blog post page, it can use the slug to grab the content that it needs from Hashnode. And then just like you would normally on the website, so if I come down here to the source, I do have a component here for a individual. Here, we'll look at the individual blog post cell. So we are making a regular GraphQL call like you would normally as if it were stored in our database. So that was a fun feature to put together. And again, shout out to DT for helping with that. The other piece that's really interesting with this is we have some markdown in the project. So if I collapse this down, and I think, see if I saved it. Yep. So here in the root of the project directory, I have a content folder, and I have folders for the change log that will appear on the homepage. So if you want to see what updates were made recently, there'll be a change log feed on the homepage. We also have that events feed that we looked at earlier. And then we have all the details for the roadmap. And if you look at this, this is just regular front matter that we're using that's stored directly within this particular repo. Then I'm using a content layer, which historically has been used with Next.js, but it's all React. So we're using this behind the scenes to then generate this .content layer. And what this does is it consumes all of those markdown files, and it will create a JSON file and make this easier to consume on our end. So then if you go into the components, here I have a folder for all the components that appear just on the homepage, and I have a roadmap summary. So here at the top, I'm consuming that JSON file and then looping over it here with the data. So kind of neat how you can mix and match different content pieces based on what you're looking for. And that's all available right now. This project is open source if you want to take a look at it. But one of the things that's really important to us is that as we are building these pieces out, we do need your help just in being able to get feedback on the developer experience and making sure that it is helping you, that the features are working, and just to get feedback. Really, this project, because it is open source, is only as strong as the community. So one thing that we would like to do is ask for you to apply. So this will be a special group of people that can be a part of our a working group to run the experiments and the canaries that we have and give us feedback. So I'm going to, inside the chat, paste a link to a Google form where if that's something that you're interested in and participating and having really an insider look and behind the scenes look at the things that we're doing. So this is like a step above. Obviously, we'll be publishing all the information and sharing that publicly, but these are the people that we really do need feedback from. So if you want to be a part of that special group, I'd encourage you to apply. Awesome. So next up, let's pull up on the agenda. I think, Toby, do you want to join?
Yeah, please.
You can't really. Perfect. Awesome.
Hi, everyone. Next up on the agenda is Redwood version 7, which is still like the current, it's still part of the current epoch. It's not part of Bighorn. So this is most likely going to be the last major release we do on the current version or the current epoch of Redwood. And we do have a release candidate out as of a few days ago that we would really like for you all to try out and make sure that it works as expected, so that we can get a full proper release out to you all of version 7. I'm gonna paste a link to the forum post that has the upgrade guide. It is a release candidate, so the upgraded guide is not complete. We have all the breaking changes listed, and it should guide you through upgrading an existing Redwood app, but it does not yet list all the new features that are available of the version 7 release. Overall, though, version 7 was the goal for version 7 was to be more of a maintenance release, quality of life release, where we really put in a big effort to update as many of our dependencies as possible to get any of the latest security or updates and bug fixes in for everything or all the packages that we depend on. So there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you hopefully won't even notice. If we did it correctly, like it should be seamless for you all. So yeah, please take a look at the forum post, and it should also have a link. Or actually, let me give you the link, because we also have, if you go to the releases on GitHub, which I've pasted right there, you can also find like a more detailed list of everything that went into the release on that page. As I said, this is mostly a maintenance release and mostly like updates to various packages. But there are a few things that I wanted to highlight. We do have like a few new features. Because another thing that I wanted to do with version 7 was to graduate some of our experimental features into proper, fully supported features. Like we had GraphQL features like real time, and we had Sentry, and we had Studio. All of those were experimental features that are now available in version 7 without any experimental flags. And going forward, a lot of the stuff you will hear about Redwood is going to be React Server components, but we totally want to make sure that GraphQL stays first-class citizen with all the greatest support that we can possibly give you for both basic and advanced GraphQL features. So a big shout out to DT for all of the GraphQL features that went into this release. And as I mentioned, Sentry for tracking issues and bugs that your users run into on the front end. We have a setup command for that now. That's not experimental anymore. We got some nice help from Sentry employees to make sure that it's up to their latest recommendations from their side. I know that some of you have been using our so Redwood uses Fastify on the backend or for the API side, and it was possible to somewhat customize the Fastify instance or the Fastify settings. And I know some of you were using that when you deployed server in a serverful environment. So for this release, we have changed that a little bit, how that works, to give you even more capabilities to fully customize the Fastify settings and add your own plugins and anything that you want. Another thing that we are super proud of is our Redwood Studio that has been in experimental for a while, but is now generally available. So just run yarn rw studio, and a tool that will greatly help you develop your Redwood app will start and connect to your GraphQL API and get telemetry information. It will help you write your GraphQL queries, because like Amy demoed with the GraphQL Playground, that's something that's integrated into Studio. We also have a mailer, and in Studio you can get live previews of your emails. And in in development mode. Like if you send an email, it will show up in Studio, so you will not risk sending any test emails out to your users. They will be routed to Studio, and you can see them arrive there. And then, of course, various fixes went in. And yeah, one last feature kind of thing that I wanted to mention were a couple of like 2 or 3 new hooks that were added to our router to get more powerful introspection features to see what routes you have, what their names are, and what their paths are. So you can write even more powerful custom navigations. So yeah, that's what went into version 7. And as I said, it's in release candidate now, and it will stay like that for a little while. But the more feedback we get, the faster we will get out of experimental, get it out of release candidate and into like a proper full release of Redwood. Yeah, thanks. That's all I had, Amy.
Awesome. Love it. So one of the things that you mentioned with V7 was that Studio is no longer experimental. And so I'm going to bring DT on to feature some of the things that went into this particular release. Let's see.
Oh, that was not what I wanted to do.
DT, are you able to share audio and video? So some of the things while he's doing that, I'll talk about some of my favorite features. The mail stuff, if you've looked at that, is absolutely fantastic. Writing emails and delivering them are really difficult, surprisingly. And a lot of that is because you are using like old HTML and CSS. And so I've never had an experience that's quite as beautiful as this one, because you have great features for being able to not only create those HTML emails, but also to preview them. So there's a place where you can go preview the templates, but then you can also intercept outgoing messages to be able to preview that as well. DT, are you good?
I think so.
Perfect.
Everybody, okay, great. Yeah. Yes, that was a great introduction. And I just wanted to do a little also welcome and intro to Studio, something that myself and a bunch of other people on the team have been working on for a while. And as Toby said, is now out of experimental. And this post will go live soon. Right now it's just unlisted, but you can get a taste of what we're going for. And really, I want Studio to be a place where every Redwood.js developer can go and be part of their toolbox. So you can, enjoy your developer experience. You can be productive, and you can build. We want it to be a place where you can collaborate, you can visualize your app, and you can measure the performance of your app. So you can start, working on it and see what's going on under the covers, because so much happens underneath. Sometimes you don't actually get to see it. And then, we want it to be a place where you can get documentation and help and work with your team. So there's several core features of the dashboard, and I'll give a demo after I do a quick little preview. But we've got a dashboard for the metrics and performance. We've got monitoring that shows very detailed traces and spans, if you're familiar with OpenTelemetry. So you can see just what it's executing per request and detect certain things. You can diagnose problems. Maybe there's an N+1 query, or there's a very slow query. You can see what's going on. You can get information around your GraphQL API. You can visualize it. You can visualize the schema. You can look at the various operations that are being executed, and have a fully integrated GraphQL playground, as Toby said, that has user impersonation. So it's built in. It's much, much easier to use than before. You get some insights into your database. So again, you get to see your schema diagram and your ERD, but also see what SQL statements are being executed, how often, and various statistics. We'll go through Mailer, because it's tightly integrated with Redwood Mailer, so you have a sandbox inbox and place where you can preview and test templates. And then we've added a community search. So it's much, much easier to search docs and even Discord and discourse to find information to get help. You can just do a little click. And the nice thing about Redwood Studio is that it's built with Redwood. So it has some great showcases to show how we use GraphQL for real-time cells, routing, authentication, and everything else. So we'll have this post out and we'll show you what's going on. So, okay, so let's have a look at the studio. So we're going to go through our couple of sections here. So we've got our dashboard. Come on. Whenever Zoom's running, it's always never fun. Really, it's going to do it to me, isn't it? Yeah, figures. It's one of those demo grumbles. Hold on one second. Sometimes things, when you plan them. Let's go one more time. There we go. Okay, thank you. Now you woke up. There we go. So we can see that our, right now we have a test app running in the background. So it's been sending telemetry logs or telemetry events to show performance. So we can see that there's various Prisma, these are in milliseconds, requests coming through, and your SQL, if your functions or services are running, and then how many, how many SQL statements are being made, how many GraphQL operations, and some information at a glance of your app. We can then take a look at, I'll skip over to monitoring for 1 second. We can take a look at your GraphQL schema. Yeah, weird. Sorry about that. It's Zoom things. So you can see that we've got a GraphQL diagram, so we can see what's going on here. You can go look at all your schema details. And this is kind of nice because I don't know how it is when you build a Redwood app, but I often have in VS Code my Prisma schema, my GraphQL schema, and I'm looking at the text of it, right? But now we've got a nice little visual to say, okay, well, what are my mutations? Or, what are the relationships between things? Oh, okay, an author is a user from a post, things like that. We can see some of our statistics around all the operations that are being called and some, kind of a flame table of average duration. And then I'll do playground last. We've got our database schema. So again, we get to see our detail around Prisma, so you don't have to go look at your Prisma schema in VS Code if you don't want to, and some information around the database. Let's take a look at Mailer now. Okay, so let's demo Mailer. So if you've ever used Redwood before, you've gone here and you said, okay, let's send an email from dt to dt@school.com and hello, town hall people. You can now see that we've got a new context submission done here. So our dev app has sent the email in a development sandbox. So this, even though I sent it to example.com, every email is going to be intercepted, and then you can preview how it's being delivered before it actually gets sent out in the world. So you know that it's very safe to see, and you get all the information about your email that way. What's also nice about Mailer is that you can preview your various components. So you can see what an example email will be. As you develop your email templates, you can implement them in your code and get a preview of what it looks like before you even send an email that might be intercepted in your mailbox. Cool. So last thing I wanted to show is the GraphQL playground. So you may see right away, you can have here, we've automatically started to impersonate a user. We've created all the information you need in your headers to impersonate user number 1 in this case. And why is that useful? Well, it's useful for this reason. If you go in here and say, okay, we want to create a new post. Hello, hi, author ID 1, right? say, okay, I'm not logged in, so I don't have permission to do this. So I would have to log in. But if I wanted to test if I wanted to test this mutation out, I could instead just go here and say, okay, I want to add a new mutation. Let's say create post, and let's get rid of you, and we'll say hello from author ID 1 by town hall, and we need to return some information, right? Yeah. We want to return the ID and the title and the body and the author ID and full name. So now I can create a post, and you can see that it's created. And if I go back to posts, we've actually done it. So the Redwood Studio GraphQL Playground with user impersonation is a great way to really try out your GraphQL API. And you can see how we've set up our impersonation through our settings. So we've set this up, and there's information in the docs to show how to do this, but that's it. The actual traces are actually really interesting too, because let's take a look at what some of our recent details. So what did we do? Let's say, okay, here's my mutation. Here's the one that we just did, right? So we did a create post. You can see that we got all the information that this is the post that was created. And if we go to the parent trace, we can see actually what happened under the covers. So what did this do? You can see that we made a query, and then we wrote some information here with the mutation of creating post, and then we return some information back. So you get the entire trace of everything that happened while you did a create post with all the timing information. And that's Redwood Studio. That's everything that we've done, and pretty excited about it. And yeah, excited about the future. Definitely have a lot of ideas, but this was really just to show, oh, I forgot to show you the search. Let's try directives, because people often talk about GraphQL. So you get you can create, and you can say, okay, okay, how do I test GraphQL directives? Okay, well, we jumped right to that. Or let's say, oh, maybe we want to see what are people talking about directives. Okay, you can, here's where somebody asked a question, how to deal with the security directives, and you can quickly search into our Discord discussions about some information about how directives can be used for authentication, but you can also do directives for other things. That's it. I'll stop the share.
Awesome. And I did want to point out that search is community search. So not only is it searching Discord, but it's also looking at discourse. And then was that GitHub issues as well?
It does, yes, it does discourse, Discord, and I believe to GitHub issues. I'll double check. And we have the option to add more sources. So once the blog kind of gets up and going, we can add blog search to that. So you can quickly search blogs through the studio as well.
Awesome. Now there was a question in the chat that I think is answered, but just wanted to highlight for everybody. So Raj asked, is Studio for development or server only?
At the moment, yes. That's the current tool is for development and for your local machine and your local apps. Yes.
Yep. So, but
could this change in the future?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So if you have feature requests, we'd love to hear as you guys are using and experimenting it and how you're working with it. Awesome. DP, do you want to come back on?
I just wanted to add.
Oh yeah, go Toby.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that when you do try it, that forum post that will go live right after this meeting is the perfect place to provide any feedback. We will monitor that thread for anything that you can find.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So we're really excited about some of the new features that we've released with V7 and then all the things that we're working towards with Bighorn. So again, as I mentioned earlier, after this meeting, the new Bighorn landing page will go live. And so you'll be able to see the changelog, the blog that Tom wrote, and all kinds of great stuff.
Is that my cue?
Head of Syracuse. It's a very pregnant pause. Long pause.
I may have been trying to figure out how to stop the live stream again. You know, we'll nail this sometime.
That's okay.
That's pretty amazing. Like the whole thing. And I look to everyone that has been spending years joining us live for community meetings. I recognize so many names. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. And what I have to say, my summary of all this is we're just getting started. And I think the years you've spent plugging into Redwood, the foundation we built together as a community and having you all along, you're really going to see it take off from here. So thank you. And to the team and all the features that just got, we called V7 a quality release, quality of life release, but it really feels like it was just kind of a final lap around so many amazing things that got implemented last year. And man, we're really I'm so proud of the team for shipping. I mean, DT showed us the community search feature in 10 seconds, and it's going to blow your mind. So dig in. The Studio app is entirely written in Redwood. It just, where Redwood is right now is a wonderful place. And again, I love what we're doing. Hats off to the whole team, and there's some exciting things to come. So that said, let me figure out how to stop the live stream. Anything else to add, Amy? You did a good job too.
I'm
stoked
just
about the
honored to
website.
be a part of it. Honored to be a part of the work that's being done, and grateful for the leadership. So not only the core team, but also the leadership.
DP, you had a question in chat.
I did, or someone else did.
No, you did.
What? Oh, someone has a question for me. Oh, are there any F2F plans in 2024? Help me with F2F.
Face to face.
Oh, thank you. Oh man. That right here. That like
I can tell I'm getting old because I don't know the lingo.
You know what? That was me trying to multitask right now. So thank you. No, Michael, there's not. Let me give you a little bit of ideas for what we have. The Redwood conference last year, for those that were there, it was small and intimate, and it was amazing. For the small team that we are, it was a tremendous amount of work. And we had to decide this year if we wanted to, ship some features or schedule another conference. So conference-wise, although we may, it's getting a little late, do something virtually toward the end of this year, we're looking at early 2025. That's the part that's like, for the next conference, so that we could do it justice when we get there and ship the things now that'll make it really fun to get together in 2025. What I'm thinking about is once the roadmap is underway, we'd like to do some more meetups, and we have some opportunities, especially in San Francisco, where a few of us are based, and on the West Coast, to start doing more like smaller group in-person Redwood meetups. And if you or anyone else in the city you're in would like to start hosting Redwood meetups, we'd love to help. So that's what I got. It's a great question. I took a long time to answer it, but ship first, get together, hang out, and talk about what we shipped afterward is the plan for this year. But would welcome some ideas. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I can add, and that is like there won't be a dedicated Redwood conference, but a lot of the core team will attend various JavaScript, TypeScript, Node conferences around the world this year. So there's a great chance you can find at least a few of us if you come to any of the big conferences this year.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, Toby. That's a great point. And maybe that's a cue for us, core team, to be posting a little bit more actively and probably in the forums and events that we're attending. So maybe that goes on the event schedule. Next one up is the React conference. If you don't know about it, it'll be happening in May. That's outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. The conference itself, they have to do a lottery. It'll be small attendance, but there will be people from the core team there. We might not even be in the conference getting there, although we hope to participate in a lot of different ways. but that could be a good place to hang out with us. And then Amy, I know you are looking at some conferences. Toby, you've got some. So yeah, maybe we just make a list and post it in the forum. Great idea. Great idea, Toby. Okay.
Yeah, and you said that that would be the first one, but that's not entirely true. I will be at JS Day in Italy in April of this year.
Okay,
So
fantastic.
for you European people, if there are anyone tuning in, Italy JS Day, I will be there.
Okay. Yeah, we should make the list. Let's do it. Where in the world will the core team be? That'll be the forum post.
Love it.
Okay. We've got a little bit of time left. You know what? Oh wow, we have a big group. I might just let me stop the live stream if I can figure out how to do that, because I have to flip over to there we go. I'm there. So any live stream now. Again, thank you all for those of you watching this replay on YouTube. The forums is a great place to follow up with questions. You'll find all the links that you might not have seen in the forums, and we hope to see you involved in the community. And for everyone else, we're going to stop the live stream and tell you what we can do here in the next 12 minutes. Thank you all. Thank you, Amy. Great job today.
Thank you.